Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are going to give it a minute or two just to make sure everybody had time to get from the last session to this one. So we'll be starting up in just a minute. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It's exciting to see how many people have been joining us already. So I hope you all will find this session pretty informative. We've been working really hard on the solutions and the vision of what we're about to share. Um, so I'm excited to be joined today by a couple of our partners, Posh from C&S and Tom Crone from Seiler Geospatial. Our session is called Exploring Design to GIS-Enabled Construction Inspection for Aviation. Posh is going to get into more details about who C&S is, but they have a specialty, and he himself has a long-term specialty in working on automate and streamline the way that they manage their inspection processes on these projects. So before we begin, you will be muted, same as with the other sessions. There will be a Q&A feature, and we'll have time at the end for certain to ask questions of the speakers. And then there's definitely going to be a recording available that everybody will get after the fact. In fact, there's even going to be some great content we're going to share throughout, some links to some other resources that we've been developing that I think will help you move along the way. So appreciate it. And yeah, Posh, let's get started. So I'll start just because I'm already talking, but my name is Ron Perkins and I run partnerships and channel for Infotech. I've been in the industry for a number of decades, and have been super excited in these last few years to see how Infotech is making great strides in what we're doing to adopt GIS data and standards and workflow with our tools to be able to support these kind of things that our clients like C&S are really anxious to try to begin developing for the future of their firm and for their clients. Posh?
So I'm with C&S Companies. I am the Aviation Digital Delivery Lead, and I'll go into more about C&S in a couple of slides.
My name is Tom Crone with Seiler Geospatial. We're the Midwest Trimble dealer, as well as an Esri business partner. I manage our GIS solutions and support team, where we focus on mobile field application implementations and development and connecting field instruments to those applications, typically Esri and Trimble apps, as well as third-party, Infotech, Appia, and so on, which we will talk about today. Great to be here.
Great. So, all right, our agenda. So first, we are going to go into the background, kind of the challenges with traditional workflows. Again, excited to have Posh talk about that journey that their organization has been on, and much of the industry has as well. Solutions, obviously, what have we developed to try to address those challenges, and how are we trying to uh, include Appia in that workflow through the GeoBridge system that Siler developed with us. And then, of course, fully embracing the work that we're doing with Esri with ArcGIS field maps and incorporating that into our workflow. A lot of what Posh is going to talk about is, they really supported this process. They've been wanting this for a long time. They helped us kind of scope out what we needed to do, but it was also something they agreed to help us test this in the field. And I think you're going to find some great information and insights on with the lessons learned that they've had. He'll go into some of the results and the benefits that they see and how this kind of ties into their long-term vision. Obviously, knowing that we're trying to align our vision with that of our clients and the industry, of course. And so this is really important. And then at the end, we will talk about kind of takeaways. We've got, as I said, a couple tools and resources we can provide to you, and then we'll open it up for questions.
All right, so just a quick project overview. We'll go through the steps towards a digital revolution. So out with the old ways and in with the new. We'll go through the solution highlights and the project life cycle showcase from BIM and CAD to GIS. And then also discuss why we're doing all of this towards the end. Just a quick overview of who we are at C&S Companies. We have 20 offices nationwide with 550 plus employees offering full service AEC consulting. And we have 125 dedicated folks within our aviation group, which makes us one of the largest aviation focus group in the country. I serve as the digital delivery lead for the company. What does that mean? So I help my team provide the best solution to our clients involving BIM, CAD, GIS, and asset management. I tell everyone I have two clients, my internal client, which are my coworkers, and my external clients, which are my airport clients. And my role is to help them see the benefits of data interoperability and bring in BIM and CAD data and other databases into GIS. And I hope to showcase that to you all today. So we'll begin with the digital revolution. We've gone through the age of, large roll plot submission, paper copies into digital, which in this start will be PDFs. And at C&S, we had a need there's a lot of data involved, right? A lot of megabytes or gigabytes of PDF files and other electronic submissions. And we need to house all of that under one application. We also want to do document control and tracking and allow the control of the documents for collaboration between teammates and certain clients, as well as data integration. And that's where we partnered with Infotech to utilize their Appia solution. And I'll pass it to Ron to talk more about Appia.
Yeah, and first I'll say that I love that we're using the term revolution instead of evolution. Quite frankly, Infotech was really there through the beginning stages of the evolution of where the industry was going from paper to digital processes. I mean, we developed Appia to really address the challenges of manual and time-consuming activities, that all happened during construction. And firms like C&S, we've seen the shift from paper to processes to digital and mobile solutions for that matter. And that's really where Appia shines. In the field, Appia serves as an auditable source of truth. We grew up serving public agencies, and the word audit is synonymous where public spending goes. So that's a core part of our functionality, and capturing every construction admin activity and providing that audit trail is really, again, it's a critical part of what we provide. Appia eliminates errors and redundant tasks. It manages the change orders and material tracking seamlessly, and it generates comprehensive daily reports in real time. In the office, Appia simplifies complex tasks. It manages funding requirements, streamlines pay estimates, helps resolve disputes efficiently. And for the owners, Appia keeps those field workers focused on their job, while simplifying inspection tasks, making those processes simpler, making it adoptable and scalable. And then at the end, providing that comprehensive digital handover to better support the entirety of that asset lifecycle. So real-time project management is really where we're at. I mean, Appia was designed with real-time project access anytime, anywhere, whether you're running reports, monitoring progress, or processing payments. Appia ensures complete transparency and compliance, again, to support that audit trail. Daily reports start in the field, whether you're online or offline, and you can customize your reporting needs. You can track people, you can track equipment and materials in real time, and automatically link that data to pay estimates and funding sources.
Thanks, Ron. So now that we have the solution, we're at an age now where technology updates by the second, and in the age of AI, you know, AI really relies on accurate data and lots of data to make it helpful to the organization. So in looking at ways that we can evolve our practice, we saw one big bottleneck, and that's, you know, the revolution we just talked about, which is using PDF, as our documentation. There's a saying in the industry where PDF is where data goes to die, right? Because once you mark up a PDF, there's no real way to extract that information and use that information accurately again. So we need to eliminate our PDF markup workflows. The old workflow that we've been using, and it's been great for document control, but we would mark up a red line, a plan set, and record it, put it in our daily report, and submit it in Appia, which is great for tracking. But if we look at this project lifecycle on the right side of the screen, we start at the top left quadrant, right? We go into design in BIM and CAD, and then we can document that. During construction, we can still document all the data entries within there. But then we can transition to GIS for operations and then planning for the future. So what this is showing is the more data you feed into a project, the better project insight. And Esri really allows for that project insight because they have so many different applications that we can use. In our case, we're going to be using field maps to showcase how we can capture data and also maintain it within the construction project and maybe in the future for asset management. And it allows for higher accuracy location captures, right, with field maps, and we'll showcase that as well. But we can all agree that the project lifecycle needs data. And that's where, I reach out to Ron and his team to see what we can do to better our use of Appia. So I'll pass that back on to Ron to talk more on that aspect.
Yeah, and Posh, I love again that evolving the practice. I've come to know Posh pretty well. We've been able to give this presentation at the Esri or the IMGIS conference, and we've done a couple other things for the last year almost. And it's guys like him who are so well versed in BIM and digital project delivery and just gaining so much insight to GIS. This is evolving rapidly, and I think not just for how it's automating and streamlining their efforts in the field, it is to provide a better deliverable to their client. So, and we've helped really thousands of agencies and firms move from that paper to digital. And it's a tool. Appia is a tool that really has helped them revolutionize how the projects are managed. Automating payments, streamlining inspections, managing the full asset lifecycle journey, the project planning to construction and beyond. And the one piece that was missing from our world, really, up until we started to work with Esri, was that GIS and location awareness of the asset. So that's something that we started to work on. We actually developed our own integration with ArcGIS and kind of blended our tools together. We partnered with Esri. We integrated Appia with ArcGIS to create a direct link between construction administration and the GIS systems. So now the agencies, they can use their rovers and they can connect and collect and visualize that data, item location data, and put it up on the Esri maps and dashboards. Our apps are even available in the Esri marketplace, and it enables a seamless connection to construction administration for the GIS departments. So that said, we did soon realize that while this integration worked and it was based on expensive kind of high-tech rover setups, with our original pilot customers, these people are using, frankly, expensive rovers to collect that location information. And we needed to find a way to bring down that barrier to enter to other people, make it more accessible, right? And so that the solution really could work almost regardless of what devices the people are using in the field to collect that information. That's why, we took a few next steps here and decided the best thing for us was how could we integrate Appia with ArcGIS field maps? Because Esri's done a lot of the heavy lift on integrating that tool with just about any kind of device that would give you that location accuracy. They support a wide range of field data and collection devices, and it does make it more accessible for agencies and the people that work for them. And Esri's investment in mobile field solutions, they're absolutely staying ahead of the curve, and that helps to kind of ensure, that we're current and that we're always up with the latest and greatest tech. But so how do we bridge that gap? Well, that's where we brought in our partners from Cider, and that's where I introduced Tom.
Thanks, Ron. So incorporating Esri and GIS capabilities into Appia, and frankly, having the ability to measure item quantities and store geometry into an Esri database is a significant step towards digital project delivery initiatives, right? The benefits of an Esri integration are many, from efficiency gains for data collection in the field to extending the data beyond the project deliverable and into asset management and after for project completion. So at its fundamental core, digital project delivery demands geometry capture of assets. It requires collection of high precision spatial data during and after the construction process. And to do this, we needed a field software that supports high accuracy GNSS, and ArcGIS Field Maps certainly was the right fit for this requirement. Next slide. So using precision GNSS positions with field maps allows construction inspectors to abandon outdated measurement methods that require manual techniques. These include pulling tape or using wheels to measure linear or area features such as pipe length or square foot of pavement installed. Inspectors would manually measure, then input this data perhaps into a field notebook to be transferred to their system in the office. This process is time-consuming and invites the possibility for errors. Field maps can capture precision geometry using high-accuracy GNSS positions and measurements in the field. It supports feature services, and that storage method provides us with an ease of data sharing. And because it is used extensively throughout the utility, public sector, and engineering community, Field Maps is already familiar to most organizations that are already doing this type of field work. So Field Maps can be integrated with a wide range of GNSS devices. We have options for deploying the latest GNSS technology, such as the Trimble DA2 and Catalyst solution that's displayed here in this photo. This is a flexible subscription-based GNSS system that fits perfectly with the data collection needs of a typical construction inspector. Whereas the spatial data that they're collecting is critical, the process for doing such involves only a small portion of their day. Newer model GNSS receivers, such as the DA2, allow for this flexibility. So an integration with a wide range of modern GNSS technology further validates ArcGIS Field Maps as the proper solution for this integration. GeoBridge is an integration piece that seamlessly sends all Appia project items to an Esri ArcGIS online database. The items are converted and stored in Esri format, and with GeoBridge, a highly configured field maps application is deployed for quick and easy data input for all construction materials and items. It's important to note that the script that connects Esri to Appia is fully contained inside of Esri using what's called ArcGIS notebooks. There's no middleware needed. If an organization has ArcGIS Online, then it has access to ArcGIS notebooks. A custom notebook is delivered with the Python script that will pull and post data from and to Appia by project and by user. We pull the items list from the project and we push it into an Esri database. The script will parse out the items by geometry type and have it available in field maps with little to no burden of information input from the construction inspector. So in other words, if the user needs to collect, say, the area of pavement subbase that was installed today, they choose that item from the list via an item search. They measure the area using a GPS receiver. And because we're able to write automation scripts inside of field maps, the form will automatically fill out all of the rest of the information. If the unit of measurement is square feet, field maps will calculate and return a square footage value. If the item of measurement from the item is square yards, say, it will automatically report square yardage and so on. So all the measuring or the remaining required item information is automatically filled in as well. So little to no data input is needed from the field crew, thus eliminating potential for error and resulting in a very intuitive and efficient process for data collection. Because of this integration, when the inspector returns to the office, their field data is already sent into Appia and ready for validation and reporting. Perhaps as important as all the above is that data that is collected for construction inspection will live in Esri forever. We can configure web applications such as dashboards to create visualization tools so inspectors or project managers can easily query and see what was installed when and where. In other words, we can easily leverage the Esri stack of applications to create visualization tools for specific project or personnel needs within our organization. If an inspector wants to visually track what they did, the what, the when, and the where, we can create a dashboard so they can see and query the GIS data by date, date range, item type, group, etc. There's no limitation for the use of the stack of Esri apps for data sharing and visualization. Also, the GIS data can be easily migrated to a digital as-built, plans and records, which are then incorporated into an agency's asset management and maintenance solutions. So if you collect a hydrant, valve, pipe segment for reporting in Appia, this data can then be easily migrated into your as-built database and is incorporated into the authoritative GIS for operations and maintenance. The end result is using modern field data collection techniques and feeding data into connected systems of record. The benefits of which include efficiencies and time savings in the field and office, accuracy of data, both positional and informational data, ease of use, applications for the end user, and having data beyond the material tracking phase. The project lifecycle from design to construction to as-built to operations and maintenance can be completed without any redundant data entry. Posh will now give an overview of a real-world example using this connection.
Thank you, Tom. Great explanation on how to use field maps with the GeoBridge connection. So in this example, we have a taxiway improvement project at Providence, Rhode Island International Airport. So what you see here is the CAD design, right? This is what we design to create plan sets and then issue for construction, what we provide to contractors for them to construct the project. For most, it's just a bunch of lines. For me, as an aviation engineer, I see we're working on an airfield. There's airspace restrictions, things we have to worry about during construction. We've seen in the recent news, there's accidents on ground at the airport, so we need to be careful once we're out there on the field. So we begin the process by extracting the CAD data and building a web map. So I can bring in the proposed geometry and bring it into GIS web map, bring in the baseline, but most importantly, bring in the runway object-free area, which is shown in the arrows on screen. And what this would do is with the GNSS and field maps, you have your location on the field, and we can make sure that no one is entering that the runway object-free area without talking to the airport towers beforehand. Just jumping into Appia real quick. So this is the Appia project itself for this taxiway improvement project, and this is just a list of project items that Tom kind of mentioned earlier. For this task, we are just gonna look at the light base cans. So with the GeoBridge connection through the Esri notebook, we're then able to load up the web map or the field maps and then search for the project items for this project since everything's linked. In this case, I search for the project item. The item code matches, it gives you the authorized quantity, and most importantly, you can hit that add new point and add it to the project. Jumping back to web map real quick, Tom had mentioned when the worker is back to office, everything is pushed to Appia, and you know that gets pushed because on a map it'll turn from red to green. So in this case, everything's already been pushed, and we're just going to query one of the captured items in this showcase. So clicking on item, I have captures, so it's showing the accuracy, and then also the northing and easting. So this is just screen grab and capturing here. And also we screen grab the measurement for the stationing from the baseline, also the offset, and then any other photos as well. And this is important because we can bring this into our daily report. So looking at the date stamp here, I'm jumping back into Appia real quick. I go back to June 7th. I knew the inspector that was capturing this was Evan. Now I can see all the items that he captured that day, all the notes that he took, and then also all those photos, all those attachments that you had that we had attached on there is migrated over to Appia without having to do any additional uploads, saving loads of time, especially if you have 50 or 100 photos within a day. And then everything is organized by the GIS object ID, so you can go back and filter it that way as well. But that was one feature that, like, one gain that we saw that we weren't even looking at before is the time it took for someone to upload photos when they're out in the field and then coming in the office. So that's a very helpful feature for field maps. So now that we can complete the project, what more can we do with the GIS data? So I talked about digital as-builts. Before we would redline a PF plan, which is very inaccurate, right? So now we have something that's captured with GPS from field maps that can be brought over in the CAD. Now there's multiple ways that you can bring GIS data in the CAD, but my favorite way is using the Esri free plugin for ArcGIS. Basically, once you have it downloaded, you'll have this ribbon here. You hit add data, and I'll skip through the login and then just jump to everything being loaded in. So I select the feature, it brought everything in. So these are all everything in white, and the cross is what was captured, and then in red was what was designed. So we can see and move things around as needed for as-built conditions. But I also want to showcase how we can bring in CAD data into GIS. So in this case, we export CAD data as shapefiles and then import it as its own layer into ArcGIS Online. And then you can overlay the design layers with what was captured in the field. But this could be helpful during the beginning of the project as well to make sure things are lining up with where they're supposed to be. So why are we going through all this effort? And the first item is, we always have our phone on us, right? And wherever we go, especially on the field, you're answering calls, but then you can also capture field captures at the same time. So you can pull out your phone, load up field maps, take the photos, take the notes, capture the items. But also with field notes, instead of you scribbling on your notepad real quick because you have to move quickly, you have sweat coming down because it's hot, and you get back in the office, everything is smudged and you can't read your own handwriting. You don't have to worry about that anymore because you're typing your notes as you go on the field. It also offers high accuracy as-built, as you saw earlier in the GIS to CAD workflow. And since everything is in GIS, especially for an airport organization or any big, large organization where that data can be used in the future, the GIS data becomes part of that data and interoperability process, right? So that you can overlay these layers with future project, future studies, future tasks, and ultimately, instead of us capturing this data, redlining it, and then the client going out there, we just have to collect the data once, and we can share those feature layers with the client. So it's a win-win for all sides. Now, with great benefits, there are some challenges. We have initially the people challenges, and that's a lot of people have been used to the old workflow. We have to adapt to the new workflow, so there are going to be adjustments to these new initiatives. And then also stakeholder buy-in. I mentioned I have my internal and external clients. So first, we need to make sure that our airport clients are comfortable with this workflow, right? Are they going to be accepting of the data coming in or having us capture that on the field? And also making sure my coworkers understand the benefit behind all of this. To them, it might be a burden at the beginning, but then ultimately at the end of the project, they see the time saving, the ROI, or the unfactored ROI. I mentioned the photo uploads as one of them, but then also what this provides to our client. And it's just as a partnership that C&S has with Siler and Infotech, it's also a partnership with us and our clients, right? We want to make sure they're getting the best product for their needs. And there are training required for the field staff since this is a new process. For example, GNSS setup, we need to load up Trimble, set that all up. But, that's just an hour of communication or Teams meeting with the field staff. And then on to the technology challenges. There are some limitations that I showcased earlier with the station and offset, but I know we spoke with Siler, and it's not a limitation with GeoBridge itself. It's a limitation with Esri's field maps. And Siler has been partnering with Esri, working through the solution. So hopefully Esri can come up with that solution later this year so we can automate the population for stationing and offset. And that would save us a lot of time, especially for those who are on the DOT side where you have, miles of station offset that needs to be captured. And lastly, this solution is mostly plug and play. I would recommend for you to have a data admin on your end, and Tom and Andy and the Siler support team, they've been great, and they'll work with you and set up everything for a notebook, and will be available to help you throughout the process. But I would recommend having an admin on the Appia side and also on Esri side to maintain the connection between the project and the web map. And at the end of the day, we want to get away from the yellow notepad into this something more accurate and data dependent, like this yellow Catalyst DA2.
Yeah, that's great. Posh, thank you so much. I mean, I think it's difficult to summarize in just a few short slides, months and months and months of work. So again, I can't thank you enough for the support you've given us. I love the vision that Posh has for his own company, which is, start in BIM and end in a geo-enabled BIM environment, right? And I think that's what their clients are starting to demand. And I think, quite frankly, what we've seen from our own industry research is more or less every single firm is on this journey at some place or another. Maybe they still have a lot of paper processes, or maybe they're getting rid of them. Maybe they're into tools like Excel and they're trying to think, is there something better than this? But everybody's going down this road, and owners are wise and getting wiser, and they want digital content. They want digital twins. They want smart cities. None of that works unless you have every digital component that you possibly could have that are aggregated, compiled, organized, and accessible to that. And then it's reflective of, I think, what Shelley said in the keynote this morning of that's where AI is going to really start to come in because there's going to be so much data. It's just going to be difficult to manage. So anyway, we have a case study that was already created from the projects that Posh went into detail on today. It's a great case study. We encourage you to download that. We've got access to that here. Um, Next slide, Posh. And then the call to action. I mean, in order for us to even help you, I mean, obviously we need to know where you are on that journey. Is it something that you're really starting to look at? Is it something you already have a vision for and are already starting to build those pieces and parts yourselves? I mean, I looked at the people that are in this session now. We've got some great people that have also been on the same journey C&S is. I saw Drew from HDR, and he's been supporting this wholeheartedly in just trying to figure out how this can become, one of those kind of standard operating procedures because everybody's trying to connect disparate databases to drive better solutions for their clients, right? While you also make your own firm more efficient. So that's what it's all about. We've been providing links to these other resources, and I know when this recording is issued, those links to those additional resources will also be there. And I think next slide is our contact information. Feel free to reach out to any one of the three of us. There's again that link to the case study, and I think we still have time for questions. So I think we have one already. How are field maps items, inspectors, etc., connected to Appia items, inspectors, before it pushes the notebook to Appia?
I can take that, Ron.
Yeah.
So real short, how everything is connected via Esri and Appia in terms of the field inspectors is via logins, right? So we link an Esri login to an Appia token login. So inspectors that are out using Esri, their Esri login is linked to their Appia token. And when the push happens back into Appia, it logs them in and it pushes them to their specific daily report and their specific project.
Great.
So the two systems are linked even by login.
That's great. Posh, this question's a good one for you. What long-term benefits do the cities, counties, and airports gain by adopting GIS-enabled construction inspection processes? What's in it for them at the end of this? You talked about it, but
Yeah. So, buzzword in the industry is machine learning and AI, and that's all based on data, right? And for those systems to easily access that data, that data has to be granular, and GIS is an easy solution for that, especially in the AEC industry. I talked earlier about PDF. You can't, unless you're scanning it and you have AI reading through all of that. But then that's another system that you have to attack. Whereas in GIS, you can structure the data and you can maintain that data. And also, outside of just the whole AI buzz, we also have asset management, right? Making sure these items are where they're supposed to be. The information is accurate when they're updated, right? Once we capture it with field maps, that's the constructed date. But then when it's being maintained and there's a work order against that item, we want to make sure that data also gets captured in those data fields within GIS. So GIS offers all that solution for, um, I feel like the easiest way and the lowest cost. So I see it as planning for the future.
We have one question here. Does this product work with PRC and mobile inspectors? So currently it does not, but that is a conversation we would love to begin having with you. I think I in my couple of slides, I talked about, our Infotech's GIS journey is not even 5 years old right now. And we've done a lot with people like Siler helping and clients and people like Posh, advising and requesting. But there's a lot to do, and the industry is not done. So say we kind of agreed with field maps, the investment that Esri is making in that. It's wise for us to try to follow that and let them do what they're going to do, and then we can kind of piggyback off that effort. But those are conversations that are happening internally, and if that's something you really want to explore with us, I highly encourage you to reach out to us to do that. Couple other questions here. Oh, okay. What are some of the biggest time savings and efficiency improvements that agencies and consulting engineers can expect from implementing these systems? Posh, I know these were pilot projects and you've kind of tested this out, but what is your vision as you look at connecting your team with the inspector team and all of that? Where do you see the efficiencies really coming in this process?
Yeah, so the efficiency gain, I don't think it's realized up front until you do days and days of inspection, and then you get used to the process and it becomes second nature to you. Initially, it might be a burden to get out of the ways that you were doing before, like the notepad, taking photos and data dumping it. But then once you organize all that data the way we had with this GeoBridge solution, you can track things like when was this item installed. You can just have a dashboard on where this item, what daily report this item was part of, which saves a lot of time in digging through uh, you know, hundreds of daily reports to find this one item. Whereas you can just click on a map, find it. All right, it's this daily report. It was installed on this date. Go back in time, capture it. But then also, when you're capturing that data out in the field, I mentioned the time savings for uploading photos, and also instead of taking down your notes in a notepad and then copying and pasting it into your Appia daily report, why not just write it into your field maps and then just have that push on over, right? So it reduces redundancy, errors, like Tom had mentioned earlier. And then there's really a real gain at the end of the project, um, which is catered around data management. Tom, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, but more important than myself, Mr. Dragoo from HDR also pinged us on this, and he says less manual calculations, automated workflows, and shows the records digitally of what was captured. So major time savings and benefits there. So thank you, Drew.
One last comment I have, kind of if we have time for a quick answer from you, Posh, but I think you are representative of what we're seeing as a trend where these consulting engineers are really having to to lean up their clients. We've talked about workforce issues earlier, even with coming with AI and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like you're trying to lead the way with a lot of your clients, Posh, where you guys can you'll test out the tech, you'll prove to them the value, and then you'll see that on the back end, or is it are you seeing some requests coming more for different types of deliverables, or is it a combination of the two?
Yeah, and I think that's like an industry secret where, I can see other consultants looking at this webinar right now, like seeing the benefits. So, um, especially jumping into a proof of concept project or testing for a new initiative for the firm, we need to realize the ROI at the beginning, so to know that we're investing into it. So it's always a risk, right, to be the first, but then also there's no secret here, right? It's we're what we're really doing is connecting different applications, and GeoBridge allows us to connect Appia with Esri database and streamlining that process. Um, so for us, we'll jump in to get the efficiency gains, right? Because it's at the end of the day, if we can be more efficient in ways that we can deliver projects to our client, we can provide more to our client, one, and we also get more profit, right? We can do things faster than others, and we can also, instead of just doing the traditional PDF exports for deliverables, why not do both, right? Why I'll give you the as-built document, but then also I'll give you the as-built digital delivery of GIS features. Um, so for me, it's just as a partnership with the three of us, I have to maintain that partnership with my clients, and I want to make sure they're happy with the product that they provide. So I'm always looking for new solutions. Um, and I think this solution has been a great one for all three of us, right? Partnering with one another, listening to one another, and I hope to see more of this in the future.
Yeah, it's great to surround ourselves with trusted advisors, isn't it? All right, we are over. So, guys, I really appreciate it again. We've been telling this story a good bit, but it never loses anything on me. It always excites me. Posh, is there one more slide I think that talks about the next
Oh
session?
yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay, because I know there's a lunch break
Next
now.
session right here.
Here we go. Okay, lunch break till 1. We held you back from that a little bit, and then there are 3 sessions again that start at 1 o'clock. So go back to your lobby and pick your session, pick your speakers you want to hear, and don't forget, you can always listen to the recordings after. So if you're torn, pick one and just do your research on the other one later. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.